All right. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody had a great 2 weeks. We weren't on Facebook Live last Monday because I had a all-day seminar in Springfield last Monday about the importance of early childhood education. As you know, Illinois and the governor is very passionate about early childhood education, doing all that we can to support our children through the developmental stages. In fact, your brain is almost 90% um, full of knowledge at about 6 years old. I can say it a different way, a more technical way, but they're just a sponge, and a lot of that formation starts really before the age of 6, and then school just refines it and works with it. And so it was great information, talking about a lot of things that were so important with regards to our educational system and with regards to supporting our children K through 12 overall. So it was a great all-day seminar. So I apologize I wasn't here last Monday. That was the Monday before Veto session, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of last week were Veto sessions. So we were working pretty hard all week. First, I want to start off with the cup of the day, the mug of the day. It's a pumpkin mug for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is coming up next week, within a week or so. And just really working to make sure that, you got some pumpkin pie on the table. Pumpkin pie is one of my favorites. I have to say my all-time favorite pie is peach pie a la mode. Peach pie is my weakness. Pumpkin pie is really a second best with Cool Whip or whipped cream on it. So definitely, I hope everybody is raring to go for their Thanksgiving holiday coming up. But here's to a pumpkin mug. So for pumpkin pie, and I hope everybody has a great upcoming, like I said, holiday. So what is going on? Well, believe it or not, the Bears beat the Carolina Panthers on Thursday, 16-13. Congratulations. That was a good thing. Let's see what they do on Sunday, right? They're playing against the Lions. So let's see what's going on. The Blackhawks on Thursday beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is not a sports show. It's just kind of fun things to do. But when we didn't narrow it down to in our area, what's going on in our area? Aurora University Spartan football team. Aurora University Spartan football team clinched the NACC Conference Championship with its Saturday defeat of Concordia University, Wisconsin, 23-0, at least in Aurora, in our area in the 84th district. We are just amazing, just killing it. So definitely we are very excited. And then we have the Aurora Gators youth football 13U team. They cinched the Chicagoland Pop Warner Regional Championship with its Saturday defeat in Portage. So 40-32 in, get this, triple overtime. So just want to say that that is just really exciting. And we look forward to seeing their continued success. So here in our Aurora area, in the 84th area, we got a lot to go on. What happened last week? Well, first and foremost, on Friday, November 10th, was the Marine Corps birthday. If you didn't see it on Facebook or anywhere else, I don't know why, but Marine Corps birthday, Friday, November 10th, celebrating 248 years of the United States Marines. So happy birthday to my fellow Marines out there. Belated birthday. I enjoyed some time with a lot of them over the weekend, so it was wonderful. On Veterans Day, that was Saturday, November 11th. So Armistice Day, ceasefire. If you don't know the history of Veterans Day, I'm not going to tell it to you. Why don't you look it up? Why don't you Google it? Veterans Day celebrates the veteran. And I know a lot of people, we do honor our Gold Star veterans and those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. But really, that is Memorial Day. We honor all those we've lost. On Memorial Day, on Veterans Day, we honor those that have served and for our country. So it's a little bit of a different nuance. But on Veterans Day, I was really honored to receive an award from Mayor Irvin for meritorious service for advocating for veterans and military families. Really honored to be with fellow recipients Marine Corps veteran Gil Rios, love him, known him for a very long time. We got to set together. Founder of a call, really a call to shoulders. Greg Zelote, he really talks about shouldering the responsibility of those that didn't serve to support those that did serve. Call to shoulders, and a U.S. Army veteran, and the keynote speaker was Pastor Talat McNeely. He spoke very well about his time in service. So Veterans Day was really a great day, and I'm completely honored. I was also honored the day before Veterans Day, of course, was the Marine Corps birthday, but aside from that, I was honored to join a panel at Wabansie Valley High School, Service Above Self. And they highlighted women in the military, which it was a wonderful experience. Stacy Boyer, she was in the Navy. She is the assistant commander at the Naperville VFW. Ingrid Kennedy, she was in the Air Force. And then Kim Woods Whitaker, she was in the Army. And it was moderated by an amazing guy, Eric Prakash. And he is enlisted in the Marine Corps. So, of course, I'm going to love that. It was wonderful. But it was a great... just a great panel, and I really enjoyed it, and talking about our service as women veterans and the different nuances of the different armed services, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Army. So I thought that was really great. And then I was also honored to be invited to go to the Fermilab Veterans Luncheon. And it was hosted by the Veterans Employee Resource Group. And I think this is wonderful that businesses are engaging veteran resource groups, veteran employee research groups, to create that fellowship that people had in the military that they didn't have when they get out. And so I was joined by Illinois VFW Commander Brett Neela. And so again, we just talked a little bit about the state of Illinois and what we are doing for our veterans. And lastly, there is a memorial at East Aurora High School that honors our veterans. It was unveiled on Thursday. And the memorial is for any of the East Aurora veterans who passed away serving our country. And the location is near the football field. So it also has a special plaque that includes the branches of the armed forces, along with special poppies and bricks to reflect the different branches of the military. So that's what happened around the area for Veterans Day. Now, again, my office did a wonderful job, and I want to thank everybody that helped participate and the students who created Veterans Day cards that we sent to the state of Illinois veteran homes. Now, some of you might know or might not know the state of Illinois has 5 veterans homes, and just recently I toured the Chicago Veterans Home that recently opened up. It's not at full capacity yet. They are ramping up staffing, and as they ramp up staffing, they're going to be able to let more individuals, more veterans in. But we got a lot of wonderful cards. We passed those cards out at the Fox Valley Veterans Day luncheon. That was on November 4th. And then we also sent them to our veterans homes to thank those veterans for their service too. So I always say, Veterans Day is one day, but celebrate and honor our veterans every day. Ask them the story. Ask them how they served, where they served. Get to know them a little bit better. And definitely your life would be more enriched. So that is what is going on. Now today, just a little announcement. Today at noon, November 13th at noon, and Aurora's annual Gifts from Home program. So if you know anybody or are a parent of anybody serving on active military duty like myself, my son is overseas, the City of Aurora annual Gift from Home program will honor active military personnel from Aurora by providing them with a holiday package, including a gift card to use for online purchases and an Aurora memento and a personalized letter. So to do that, you go to the City of Aurora's website, aurora-il.org, aurora-il.org, / gifts from home. So definitely that's a good website to go to. I can put that in the chat. Let me just do that, -il. Put that in the chat, but / gifts from home. So you need to submit the information before noon today. In addition to that, the Veterans History Project. So the state Secretary of State, Alexi Janulius, is asking Illinois military veterans and their families to share their stories, photos, and mementos for future generations as part of the Illinois Veterans History Project. Now, I think this is really cool because, I mean, like a lot of veterans, potentially a lot of veterans my age, you have a box of, I have a shoebox full of many photos from when I was in. Now, unfortunately, during several of my moves, some of my earlier photos from Camp Pendleton were lost. Unfortunately, that does happen. I had a whole photo book that went missing, lost, gone. But I still have some. I have a shoebox full of pictures from when I was in Okinawa and stuff to that effect. So seriously, it's one of those wonderful things that that we can do, and that the Secretary of State is doing, the Veterans History Project. So this is really a wonderful thing. It's a statewide initiative, collects, preserves, and makes accessible firsthand recollections of veterans and civilians who served in 5 military branches. Now, I also want to tell you that Illinois has a military museum. Now, I was just talking to an individual really like a month ago, and his father served in World War II, and he has a whole bunch of World War II artifacts that his father brought home from the war, and was asking me what to do with it. Now, Illinois has a military museum that will take those artifacts. So if an individual passes away or no longer wants to keep those uniforms or medals or pictures or letters or anything at all, we do also have an Illinois military museum. So we have the state library, state museum, but we have a military museum that will take those artifacts, will catalog them, will make sure that they are properly displayed when needed, and really they do a wonderful job. And if you want that information, just reach out to me or my office, and I can completely connect you with that as well. So if you don't know what to do, we have a Illinois military museum as well. So, and then just a quick little announcement. I know I'm doing a couple announcements this morning. First, coffee chat next week. Next week, we're starting to bring in some guest speakers. I think that, you know, just having me, I mean, I know I give updates and I try really hard to keep it relevant and informative, but I think having some guest speakers and increases just information that we can give. So next coffee chat next week, Monday, November 20th, week of Thanksgiving week. We will have Deputy Director Jacob Perez, and he manages the Commission on Equity and Inclusion's Veteran Business Program, to discuss the process of veteran business programs, certification, and the benefits of the Veterans Business Program for veterans, so that we can focus on continuing to support our veterans. So that's the updates. Good morning. Good morning, Cheryl. Cheryl's tuning in. Really appreciate that. And then in the chat, we put the Gifts from Home website for you to visit and put your loved one in. So now, veto session was last week, the final week of veto session of this year. Now, just to give you an idea of Springfield, if you don't know, if you're just tuning in, our General Assembly term is for 2 years. So bills that were introduced this year can still be considered next year, because it's still the 103rd General Assembly. Next year, at the end of the year, or when we adjourn sine die, that means everything closes and needs to be restarted in the next 104th General Assembly. So the 103rd General Assembly is this year, 2023, and next year, 2024. Then the 104th General Assembly starts in 2025. So that's the cycle. So bills that didn't get considered this year can still be considered next year. So that's what we're working on as well. But in the House, we passed Senate Bill 2315. I know it's a number. It was a bill that the governor vetoed And it had a lot of provisions in there to help our veterans with disabilities. There was some language that needed to be clarified with regards to property tax relief for our veterans that have been getting it for 5 years. Some tax assessors wanted to take away those benefits for our disabled veterans, especially our 100% disabled veterans. Clarifying language for that, clarifying language and support for surviving spouses of fallen police officers, rescue workers, and firefighters. And then some other language that need to be done from the Department of Revenue. That passed the House. Now, it did not get taken up in the Senate. However, we do go back. January 16th is our first day back of the new year, and that bill will hopefully be considered in the Senate at that time. That's what I'm getting told. So we did, though, pass a bill that lifted the 36-year-old moratorium on nuclear construction. As you recall, the governor vetoed that bill, that we had to file a new bill. And this is the first time to allow companies to develop new nuclear power. Now, it's so different than it was 36 years ago when the moratorium was put into place, because now there is the technology to create small modular nuclear reactors. Now, you want to say, is this new? How does this work? What is the small modular nuclear reactor? Well, I have to tell you, individuals in the Navy, such as my son, although he's not on a ship powered by a small nuclear reactor, but our stealth submarines, our brand new submarines, and our aircraft carriers, they're so large that they're powered by small nuclear reactors. They're not powered by diesel fuel. Now, I do believe that my son's ship is powered by fuel, but we have ships in the Navy that are powered by nuclear reactors now. And so the technology is out there. And if we can make more efficient, cleaner energy with these small nuclear reactors, I say, why not? So we passed that bill. We also passed a bill, Senate Bill 1956, regarding eligibility to individuals who had not received their initial increase. Now, this is for Chicago police. So what happens is there is this, I think it went into the code like in 1964, and every 5 years, the General Assembly had to adjust a date so that the police officers in Chicago could get the benefits that they had paid into, their COLA benefits. Now they pay into it, but because of COVID, it didn't get extended, and there's 1,500 Chicago police officers who were not getting the COLA that they paid into. That's the key. They paid into it. They earned it, and they paid into it. So Senate Bill 1956 was helps with just make it all parity, all the same with all the other similar to with all the other pension codes, and eliminates this really weird provision that was put in the 1960s. It was really outdated. So we did that. We streamlined professional licensing. I know individuals we're talking and calling the office about some professional licensings being delayed. It was a software issue. So we passed a bill that would help streamline it. And then we passed a bill to only purchase zero emission vehicles after January 1st, 2030. That's down the line, but it'll get here quicker than we thought. And then what we also did was there's a issue with regard to license holders in the cannabis transport arena. And what had happened was small business owners were really getting cut out of the transportation portion, transporter portion of the cannabis licensing. So what we did was there was a 2-year moratorium on new transporter licenses, and that will allow the current smaller independent transporters to secure contracts and grow their businesses. So we're looking at holding the line and helping fix this issue as well. We also passed, I talked about police pensions. We also passed pension parity for Chicago area. Finally, there were referendums that created mental health funding for 5 suburban townships and Will County, including Naperville Township. And there was some questionable, really some questionable language on these referendums that they were looking to invalidate the referendums, invalidate the folks that voted for these referendums to provide mental health funding, which is very important. And so we passed a law to tweak it to honor those referendums as they are passed. So that's kind of Springfield in a nutshell. There's a lot more work to be done, but again, those bills that went over that weren't considered in the other chamber in the Senate, most likely, hopefully, will be considered in January. In our area, Naperville Central High School. I remember Naperville Central. I went to Wheaton Central, and so hung out with folks from Naperville Central. But congratulations to Seth Brady. He's a social studies teacher at Naperville Central High School, those of you that might know him, for being awarded the 2024 Horace Mann Award for Teaching Excellence. It's a top honor in public education. It's given to 5 educators annually. And so the NEA Foundation is based in Washington, D.C., and they picked Naperville teachers. So if you know Seth Brady, give him a high five. Tell him congratulations. So what else is going on in the state of Illinois? Just a little bit to let you know, kind of announcements, kind of information. But if you are part of the Affordable Care Act, the marketplace enrollment is now open. So open enrollment for individuals who need to purchase health insurance through the Affordable Care Act Health Insurance Marketplace. It runs November 1st through January 15th. So there are plans issued by 12 companies. You have to enroll by December 15th for coverage to begin January 1. So you go to getcovered.illinois.gov for information and the plans. We are opening up applications for electric vehicle grants through the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency. So this is for the installation of direct current fast charging light duty charging stations, so that we can look at building out the infrastructure for electric vehicles. There's grants available for youth mental health. The Illinois Department of Public Health awarded $3.5 million to 19 entities to support post-pandemic child and adolescent mental health. Last week announcement of $9.5 million in grants to 40 providers throughout the state. So again, we get funds from the federal government, then we distribute them in grants, and we are putting a lot of effort into helping our youth and providing more funding for mental health services. So, and good morning, Bonnie and Gay. Thanks for joining us. The Illinois Housing Development Authority, Illinois Homeowner Assistance Fund, has provided assistance for almost 15,000 homeowners facing hardships. And I know my office has helped quite a few people. So it's, of course, funding is less than the need. 43,000 people applied for assistance, but the applications are now closed. And we put aside $300 million to help, and all the need that's out there, most likely that's going to go down and be depleted. So while we don't have direct mortgage assistance, we do have assistance for home repair if you need maintenance. So definitely call my office. They just plan to open up a homeowner assistance fund for home repairs. The State Board of Education releases 2023 school report card, and that's for families and educators for information about the 850 school districts. So it talks about things like test scores, enrollment data, absenteeism, teacher retention. And overall, it shows that our public school students are recovering from the pandemic and definitely doing well. There is some absenteeism issues still that remain, but we're working on that. I mean, the effects of the pandemic is going to be felt for quite a long time, more so than we'd like to admit. So paid leave for all workers rules were published. So the Department of Labor issued rules for the Paid Leave for All Workers Act, which provides employees with up to 40 hours of paid leave during a 12-month period, meaning approximately 1.5 million workers will begin earning paid time off starting in 2024. So that's a huge step to make sure that people get the day off that they deserve. Now, myself, I mean, I work all the time, but I'm an elected official, so I don't really fall under those categories. But there are categories where definitely you could get some paid leave for all workers act that was passed. And then finally, Illinois public universities have increased for the third year of enroll, so enrollment is up and robust. So definitely that's a good thing. Graduate and professional enrollment, however, decreased by more than 1,400 students. So there were some consecutive years of growth at the graduate level, but that's kind of flatlined a bit. We passed the assault weapons and magazine ban, and it's been in the courts ever since. The 7th U.S. Circuit Court, and if I mentioned this last 2 weeks ago, and I forgot, I'm going to mention it again. The 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals upheld the rulings by the Federal District Court in Chicago. Now, as we had mentioned, there were court cases that were going through the state, and then there was court cases that were going through the federal, and so there were two different trajectories. The Illinois Supreme Court has already ruled, but this is going through based on the national constitutionality, our Constitution of the United States, going through the federal court system. So the 7th U.S. District Court of Appeals upheld the rulings by the Federal District Court of Chicago. And so the law bans the sale and purchase of assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. The issue of the if you want to look at the ruling, is that there are parameters around our fundamental rights. And for example, they noted that you can't yell fire in a crowded theater and cause harm. And there are different parameters around our for example, around our freedoms that they have, and they cited so many examples in the opinion. So this is again in the 7th Circuit Court, and they affirmed the law, as well as that there have to be parameters around things, which is kind of common sense. So they can appeal up to the United States Supreme Court after this appellate court issuing. President Joe Biden, if you don't know, we're in the state levels, and I've gone to several conferences with regards to this subject matter and looking at artificial intelligence and AI and algorithms and Facebook algorithms and stuff to that effect. On the state level, we've been looking at that pretty closely, and I know there's several representatives in the House that are looking at AI. We did pass what was called deep fake legislation addressing that, which is just all this technology is really really believable. So the president issued an executive order for a standard on safety, security, and transparency of artificial intelligence systems. And it requires companies developing them to share details with the system's safety test with the U.S. government, as under the Defense Production Act. And that has been routinely used by presidents to oversee U.S. companies for the purposes of national security. So the National Institute of Standards and Technology will set the standard on the kinds of safety tests the companies must undertake before AI systems are released, and the Energy and Homeland Security departments will assess threats posed by artificial intelligence systems. So we're looking at that executive order as well on the state level to see how we can incorporate a good policy with regards to artificial intelligence for our state. and then finally, overseas, the war and the conflicts of in Syria and Iraq took a toll on our troops who fired the cannons. So they had a lot of artillery crews firing more intensely than any had had in generation, and members of these gun crews developed really just devastating and puzzling symptoms. And so studies are starting to reveal the risk posed by blast exposure. And so we're still looking at that and hopefully get better services for our veterans. But I wanted to show that out there. If there's any veterans that that really fired the cannons and was artillery, I know a couple of them, and they had some symptoms that their studies are starting to show that it might also be linked to that. So what is coming up? Other than that, I don't have much to announce. This week, I am flying to Washington, D.C. for an environmental really it's a conference. As I've been more senior and working with a lot of people throughout these years, I know that there is a negative undercurrent by some people about individuals being in elected office a certain amount of years. However, because of this, I'm able to now really work with other states and really get to an understanding of some of the other states and coordinating and really connecting with individuals that do so much and have different ideas and a lot of great ideas from our friends in some other states. And so what I am doing this week in Washington, D.C. is I'm leaving on Wednesday and heading out with some fellow veterans to talk about the environment and to talk about a little bit of what Illinois has been doing for the environment. As you might know, we've done a lot with regards to policy and with regards to outreach. So and with regards to trying to get to zero emissions by through our CEJA bill. So what I'm going is heading for Washington. I'm participating in the annual Climate Emergency and Energy Security Department of Energy Summit. So this is co-hosted by the U.S. Department of Energy, and it's organized by the Energy Outreach and Policy Alliance. So they are a group of legislators from different states. And so we're going to be briefed by the White House and the Department of Energy about the community benefits stemming from the Inflation Reduction Act, so that we know what was in that bill, which was a wonderful bill that Congress passed, the Inflation Reduction Act. And we will look at that act and see how our state can benefit more from that act. So I'm really excited, the Inflation Reduction Act, to see how we can utilize that and bring some of those benefits back here to the great state of Illinois. So that's what I'm going to be doing this week for a couple of days as well. And then other than that, I really don't have much else. Friday, November 17th, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. is the Winter Lights holiday. It's they light up the streets, they light up the official Christmas tree. They have a fireworks show, and they have an annual celebration. So that is this Friday. The parade begins at 6:30 p.m. at Downer Place and Water Street and heads on Downer to River Street. And then the lighting of the Christmas tree is immediately after the parade in front of the GAR Memorial Hall. And then after that is the fireworks. So they have a whole bunch of things going on. Photos with Santa, music and dancing, photos with costume characters, food trucks, and special holiday shopping deals from the downtown businesses of Aurora. If you are planning over this November, December time to visit a museum in downtown Chicago, We have our constituent museum education card that's available for residents of the 84th district. So just call the office. You can get firsthand trips to the museums, the zoos, the gardens, and the aquariums. So definitely that is something that you want to use and enjoy. Finally, Toys for Tots. We have our Toys for Tots box. It's open. We are collecting donations in our office, 1677 Montgomery Road, Suite 116. And we need to have all your toy donations by December 4th so that we can drop them off and get them in the hands of children that would like a little bit of Christmas with our annual Toys for Tots toy drive. So you can drop that off at our office. So other than that, Secretary of State Alexi Janulis is forming a Veterans Advisory Board. You can reach out to us if you're interested in that. Always make sure that your pets are safe during Thanksgiving, because there are some foods they can't eat and some foods that could make them sick. So definitely do that. IDVA launches the Winter Riches Lottery Ticket, which is the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs, and that helps our Vet Cash program to support organizations in Illinois. And then also tips for winter weather preparedness, fire safety tips over this time, and the like. So that really is our update for this Monday morning. I hope everybody had a great week. I wasn't on last week because of that conference, but I hope that you have a great week. And then we'll be back next Monday again with our guest, talking about veterans and talking about the Veteran Business Program Deputy Director Jacob Perez. So tune in, or if you know a veteran, tune in, have them tune in to our live Facebook Live next week. So be well, be safe. COVID is still out there. I know about 3 people that got COVID last week. It's still going around. And so definitely be careful. Wear a mask if you need to, hand sanitize, create a distance, and be well. So take care. Have a great week, and be safe and enjoy the weather. The weather has been great today and yesterday. So take care. Have a great one, guys.